Okay, hello everyone, and let's get started. So in today's video, we continue talking about Java, and today the topic of the video is for loop. Um, so let's delete everything we had from the last videos. So for loop, so that's loop which is used when we want to execute some piece of code over and over again once some condition is met. So besides for loop, there are two other loops in Java, while and do while, about which we will talk in details in the upcoming videos. But today we'll focus on for loop, right? So let's say for demonstration, we have a int a1. Let's see how for loop works. So there are three parameters or three options we should specify inside for. So the first one is initialization of the control variable. So that's a variable using which we will control how our for loop is being executed. So in most examples, and actually it's a good tradition in Java, that this variable is I. So that's the initialization of this I. Of course, it could be not zero value, but some others. It's up to you, depending on what we need. But for demonstration, for now, it could be zero. So the next thing we should specify is the condition. So if this condition is met, meaning that it is true, then for loop iteration will be executed. If not, then we exit for loop. And based on that, so it should be either true or false. So that should be a Boolean expression. So let's say I should be greater than 10. So that's the condition. So if it is met, then we will iterate once over for. So once iteration is over, then we will check this condition once again. And the last thing is what we do with our control variable I. So usually we either increment it by one or decrement by one. So this increment by one, so we talked about that one or two videos ago. So if you haven't seen it yet, so you don't know what this operation in Java actually means, that's the right time to watch that video. So the link should appear on the top right corner right now. But basically that's all what we need for our loop to be workable. So first we initiate our control variable. Second, we have some condition under which we start the next iteration, and the last thing what we do with the control variable in the end of each iteration. And in the square brackets we specify the actual code which will be executed. Let's say we would like to execute, sorry, so the value of our control variable. So now let's talk in details how that works. So once we are here, so we start with our for loop. First, we initiate our control variable I, which is 0. So then we check whether this I is greater than 10. If yes, we execute what is written here, and in the end of iteration, we do the following thing: the increment it by 1. Then we evaluate this condition once again, whether it's met or not. If met, we execute and this once again and then increment. If not, we exit. So okay, let's start it. Okay, and terminate it. Okay, so what happens? I don't see anything here. Why? Because I is equal to 0. Yeah, but if we evaluate this condition, whether I is greater than 10, of course, we can see that I is smaller than 10, so meaning that this condition is false. So this expression is false, and that means we will not execute anything what is here. We just continue with the next piece of code we have after for. Since we don't have anything, we just terminate it. Okay, let's change our condition to be like this. Yeah, so I is smaller than 10. Let's execute once again. Okay, and what we can see here, now it pretty illustrates how for works. Yeah, so we initiate I, we compare whether I is smaller than 10. So right now I is 0. Yeah, so 0 less than 10. That's true. Then we execute what's written here. So we print out the value of I, which is 0. Okay. In the end of iteration, we do what is written here. So increment y by I by 1. So it's now 1. Then we next so we start the next iteration now. So once we do this increment, we complete the first iteration, and now we start the second iteration, which is check of the condition. Yeah, so I is 1, 1 is less than 10. That's true, so that we execute this code, which gives us 1. In the end, we increment it by 1, which is 2, and we stop the second iteration. Then we start the third iteration. I is 2, 2 is less than 10, that's true. We print I, which is 2, and so on. Yeah, once it is 9. Once it is 9, okay, we executed this code. I is 1, we increment it by 1, it is 10, and now we check 10 is less than 10. No, it's false, right? It's false. So that's why we just exit. Of course, if we want to, for some reasons, not to iterate over all elements, so not to do the whole iteration, but if we want, for example, to find some element, for example, if I equals 5, so we are interested in one specific case. So we have some collection which we go through, and we are only interested in finding one exact element. So once it is done, we want to do something and exit for loop. So we don't need to iterate. So for example, in this case, we need only to find 5, do something, and then exit for loop. We don't want to execute it for 6, 7, and so on. Yeah. So what to do? In that case, there is operator break, which is known for us from Switch. Yeah, so if you haven't watched the video related to Switch, so the link should appear on the top right corner right now. Just have a look, right? Okay, just have a look. Okay, so let's now check what happens. Okay, so as you see, we have it's only 5 here. Yeah, because so we execute the loop and trying to find where is 5. Once it is found, we just exit it. Yeah, or we can do as follows as well. Let's do like this. Okay, so now you see that in for loop, which start with 0, okay, so 0 is not equal to 5, so we just execute this. Then we increment by 1, it's 1, 1 not equal to 1, we execute this code. So, and we go on until I is 5, 5 is 5, we execute this code and then break. Yeah, so we don't print 6, 7, 8, and so on. Yeah, so that's how for loop works. Okay, so in the next video, we'll talk about more complicated cases related to for. Namely, we'll talk about nested for loops, right? That would be all for today. Thanks to all for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, that's the right time to do that, so you don't miss any other videos. Also, don't forget to visit my site available at DataGuru.guide, where you can find some interesting posts and articles related to Java, big data technologies, and also cloud. Yeah, so on Monday there will be a new video related to AWS. We'll talk about best practices recommended by AWS, what we should do to secure our root account. Other than that, thanks to all for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.